everyone was like could just rent a Lambo for a weekend and, you know, roll up on Instagram thinking, showing that everyone's like rich. But the thing is, they're not doing that. They're actually well off. Um, it's just hard for people to fathom because the community around it is like everyday average people, right? But uh, it just seems too good to be true, and so it gets flack on the outside community, people who are not in Hex, who are not in Pulsechain, don't believe in PLSX, and it just comes off like a scam. But really,
Really?
he's doing a really amazing thing. Like out of everyone I've listened to for other tokens, other ecosystems, he's so transparent. Um, he knows what he's talking about. Like I've learned so much about tokenomics just listening to him. Like he just knows what he's doing. And even that comes off like Richard is like the one and all, but I just look at him as a regular dude that knows what he's doing. Um, so we just gotta be patient because yeah, he's created some monsters. Like Hex in itself is a monster. Um, I also think obviously Pulse Chain is going to be like it's going to change a lot of things for the Hex community, and I think PLSX is also going to just be a monster in itself too. Like he took the three biggest things and he just made them better and made them faster. He's developed them much quicker than the competition, which is funny because he's actually like just swooped in and took it, taking it. So um, the problem is the marketing though, and yeah,
Yeah.
that's the only thing that's really holding him back. And then also, I think the way he kind of portrays himself against his interviews, um, he's obviously very passionate, but that passion turns into like gets misconstrued with um, like I think what people would probably consider like arrogance or like know-it-all kind of um even though he's like blatantly trying to show like I have all this stuff because I know what I'm doing. It's not because he's trying to flash and like be better than anyone. I don't think he actually thinks he's better than anyone in terms of like equality. I just think he knows what he's talking about, and he's like, guys, you're not listening to me. Like this is it, and they're like, yeah, okay, whatever. Like it's a scam. So I think we got what I don't want to like say we got to do this, but I think we got to take a different approach when illustrating this. You know what I'm saying? Like it just doesn't come off like it should because it's almost too good to be true. And to be fair, most people wouldn't believe. Most people don't believe the
The
claims.
claims.
You can better say
Is there
welcome
a
to
release date yet?
2000.
What's that?
I'm sorry, is there a release date yet? I'm new to the community. I just got in on the Telegram, so I was just curious. I know on the website, it says around February or March.
Yeah. So he said that it should be around February and March, but with he said when you're developing software, there's a lot of things you gotta check and like bugs arise and whatnot. So he wants to make sure everything's perfect before it drops. But he's he's alluding to like a March date, but it might be extended. So
Thank you, appreciate that.
Just a quick question. Uh, so I've got Hex and I've also sacrificed, but for the so when you get your duplication of your Hex, that will be on the Pulse chain. But your original Hex, when I stake Hex, obviously I'm paying my fees in Ethereum. Will I be able to pay my fees with Pulse on for my original Hex?
I think as long as you're on the ERC20 ecosystem, you do have to pay with ETH. So if you want to pay with Pulse, you'd have to convert your Pulse into ETH, and then from there, whatever the value is, you take that ETH and you pay for the gas fees and whatnot on your ETH side.
So
But
so once
yeah,
Pulse is released, obviously you could convert your Pulse to Ethereum, and there would be also less pressure on the Ethereum network, which might bring down the fees. But there is because of Pulse, there's not a direct saving as such, if you get what I'm saying, but for
Y-
Hex holders, for Hex
Yeah,
stakers.
yeah. So as long as you're on an ETH network, you're paying ETH fees. Now, your comment about trading over your Pulse to ETH and it being less of a load, I think there's going to be a lot of demand uh, for Pulse, and so you might be able to get away with a cheaper ETH fee, or they just might skyrocket both sides. But I know that a lot of people like gas for the first little while is gonna be really expensive to go over
Yeah,
to Pulse, right? So also like the ratios, like you're probably gonna get a better bang for your buck for Pulse. Like I don't know, like the market's gonna have to decide what the ratio is for um, like the actual market value of ETH to dollars or other tokens, right? So right now
yes.
it's undetermined.
So say a new let's call a new investor wants to get involved in Hex for the benefits such as staking and that, he would look at it and he would say, okay, should I take Ethereum Hex or Pulse Hex? That would be like a decision he has to make, or she. But me as a Hex holder, before the snapshot, I would already have a duplication, so it wouldn't really matter what new investors are coming in to, because as long as I didn't sell, but the price of either could continue to increase.
Yeah, so like it's not financial advice, but I do like since the Hex community is really gun ho about their Hex, and I rightfully so. I mean, I think it's a really great product. Um, I do see the value going up. Like I see everything on the Pulse chain ecosystem going up at some point. It's just a matter of time. Um, if you look at like the chats for Pulse chain versus the Pulse X chat rooms on Telegram and also Hex chat rooms, Pulse chain has the most. It's like
Yes,
double the amount of this chat room and it's double the amount of Hex chat room. So there's a lot of demand for an Ethereum fork. Um, and so, yeah, it just, I think as long as you're in any of those plays on the Pulse side or even the Hex East side, you can't go wrong. I think,
yes,
you have all three. You have the three amigos, or actually, I should say the four amigos, because if you count the East side and the Pulse Hex side, um, you're golden. Like, it's just a matter of time.
yeah, I agree.
Hey Jay, I have a question. Um, at the time of the fork, whatever we have, so today my portfolio is 98% Hex and 2% Ethereum, just for the gas fees when it comes times to stake or to buy Hex, right? So when the PRC20 will be launched, let's say my $100 on Ethereum is going to be converted into the Pulsechain for the same amount of Ethereum that I will be, um, uh, let's say, equivalent, right? So my question is, if I wanted to buy Pulsechain, let's say I believe in the Pulse as a token, am I going to be able to convert that like immediately after the launch? Or I'm going to have to wait my Pulsex? Because I was under the impression that the Pulsechain will be launched like a little bit before the Pulsex. Am I correct?
So there's three parts of your question. Pulse X and Pulse are going to be launched at the same time. You're going to be given like 2 or 3 days to trade over your Pulse to Pulse X or Pulse X to Pulse. And it'll be given by a ratio, not at like a set dollar market value, if that makes sense. So it might be like, um, you know, 10 to 30 Pulse X for one Pulse or vice versa. Probably the first scenario mentioned. In terms of chaining over your ETH to Pulse, uh, you'll get the equivalent like you'll get a double of it in the airdrop. So if you own like $100 worth of ETH, that's a decimal place for one ETH, right? So it's like, how much is that? Probably like 0.02 ETH. You're
Okay.
going to get 0.02 pulse from the airdrop. Now, when you try to convert that 0.02 ETH to Pulsechain, when the bridge is open, the market is going to decide how many Pulsechain tokens equal one Ethereum. Now that ratio, you'll get the amount of 0.02 ETH for whatever Pulsechain. So say if it's 1,000 Pulse as an example. Say it's 1,000 Pulse for one ETH. If you have 0.01, then you're probably going to get like, I think if my math's correct, like 2 Pulse, right?
Okay.
Or whatever it is. So the markets are going to decide whatever one Ethereum is for one Pulse.
Okay,
Or
I understood the concept. Thank you very much. But the thing is, let's say the launch it's at midnight UTC.
Mhm.
At midnight and 5, and am I going to be able to understand what's going to be the price already, or it's going to be like unpredictable until 24 hours? Because for example, today, if I want to buy on Coinbase, you can literally see the price that you're going to purchase, and the time you hit start and conclude the operation, it has a change. Of course, that change, we're talking about cents. But the way people are talking, we have the impression that we can be like $2, $3 off. So this is my question. Like, I don't believe on Ethereum on my ERC20, except for gas fee, and I want to send that to my post chain to buy as most posts I can, and hold that for a year or 2 years. So to make the most use of the $100, just to give a number, do you think like at the same day I can do that, or what's going to be the best time to do that? Or just this is my question. This is me trying to understand the best
Yeah.
strategy to yeah.
Yeah. Once the bridges are enabled, everyone on the Ethereum side is going to be able to buy Pulse and the Pulse chain versions of their tokens from there. When markets open, especially for a new token, you see high prices and then huge drops typically. Not saying that this will happen for Pulse chain. You might, it's really hard to determine when would be the best time to buy in. Yeah, I can't give an estimate. You'll be able to buy as soon as the bridges open at
Okay.
whatever time, right? But you're gonna have to make a decision on, well, like you have to think of it this way too. Like people who
Okay.
sacrifice get 10,000 tokens, right, for a
Right.
dollar, and then it was less and less each day after like the 1 or 2 weeks of time. It, Once they figure out what that ratio is for one Ethereum to Pulse, it's going to be fluctuating. So all I can say is if you're going to buy for a long time and hold for a long time, sorry, then obviously you want to get the lowest price, but maybe you wait until it stabilizes, or maybe buy into a different ERC20 token and transfer it over, because those liquidity pools will be unknown. So like think about how many people are trying to trade their Pulse X for Pulse, right?
Right.
A lot of people, because they didn't get on Pulse Chain. I didn't get on Pulse Chain either. I got on Pulse
Either.
X. But I know in the first 2 days before the bridges for Ethereum happen that they're probably going to be crazy amounts of Pulse X to Pulse. There'll be few people who want to trade their Pulse to Pulse X because it's still a good, good product. But the ratios are going to be so off, I think. And so that's probably not the best play because everyone in this chat room and probably in this group, in the Telegram group, are probably going to do that play because they're new to it.
Hey,
And
dude,
then
isn't the ratio 1-to-1? ETH
no,
to Pulse.
it's not.
On the copy, it is one ETH, you get 1 Pulse.
Yeah, so so to trade over your Pulse to Pulse X and
It's
Pulse
going to be
to Pulse,
wrapped ETH. It's going to be wrapped ETH over to Pulse to get that price.
yeah, so you're not getting a 1-for-1 for Pulse X to Pulse. You might, but he's gonna let the market
not
decide.
Pulse X. No, I know, not Pulse X. To Pulse. You're talking ETH. ETH is 1 copy to 1 Pulse, whereas all the other coins
for the airdrop, it's a 1-for-1.
Yeah, the ratios also. It'll matter with a wrapped ETH, I believe, the ratio, but because that'll give it value of what an ETH is worth to Pulse. So, yeah, that's for price discovery.
Mm-hmm.
But if we're talking that window for the 2-day window, yeah, that's ratios. Nobody really knows that.
Yeah,
Tricky one.
but even
you do.
the
Somebody do that 1 to 2,000, or no, excuse me.
Yeah, but even for
1 to 1.2 million.
But even when the bridge is open, we don't know what the market value of Pulse to Pulse, ETH would be, or any of the ERC20 tokens to PRC20 tokens. Really, the markets are going to decide that. And so what I'm saying to him is that if you have ERC20 tokens that have a lot of liquidity on one side, people who have their Pulse, if they want to get a good deal, they might trade over their Pulse to the ERC20 side, maybe. And so in doing so, you might get more Pulse in a different ERC20 token than, straight up ETH or straight up whatever. Like, you know what I mean? That's what Profex and Mandalorian were saying. And they make a lot of sense. It's like going fishing in a big lake when there's like tens of thousands of people fishing. And there's not that many fish, right? Versus going to like medium-sized lake when there's only a couple fishermen fishing.
Well, yeah, you're talking liquidity pool copy. Now you're starting to talk liquidity pool. Pool copies. Now you're talking. Yeah, no one knows how much liquidity is going to be on the copied side, though. I mean, I know who else is saying that. I think was it Profex? One of the guys, yeah, saying that I'm going to be going into one that nobody knows. There's a large liquidity pool, but hardly anybody knows about it. And I'm going to get myself some Pulse that way. But that depends if there's liquidity in that. Yeah, how many allocated Pulse will be put into that pool.
Yeah.
So he can take it out.
Yeah, I mean, it's just different scenarios, right? Like, I think a lot of people are going to get wrecked for the PLX X to Pulse, and so coming up with different scenarios, like you can just trade up your ETH for Pulse, but you don't know what the ratio for that was going to be.
Yeah, the Pulse X swap to Pulse scenario. Yeah, that's a weird one. That's like, no.
It's honest. I don't think it's worth doing unless the ratios are actually reasonable. Then I'll maybe sacrifice a little bit of my Pulse X. But I mean, if you have Pulse X,
right? People are probably talking Pulse 20 to 1 Pulse X, but who knows? I don't know.
I've seen people say, 30 Pulse X for 1 Pulse. That's gonna be a hard one. I don't think I'd go for that. Like, you have to know the value of your Pulse X.
Well, then you'll have to have also the tokenomics on both coins, because if there's billions of Pulse and trillions of Pulse X, that comes into play as well, right?
Yeah, 100%.
So I'm assuming at this point in time that before the bridge goes live and when I'm talking about trading Pulse X and Pulse, I assume that Richard is going to match a liquidity or create a liquidity pool between the two. I'm assuming that ratio is going to match what was sacrificed for each coin, right? Before the OA, let's say, stepped in. So that's roughly 700 million on the Pulsechain side, and it's looking like 1 billion on the Pulse X side, right? So I could see 100 billion Pulse X coins being paired with 70 billion Pulse coins, and then letting people trade from there.
These coins going to come from if he's only minting that which was sacrificed for?
I mean, the OA bought 13 billion coins, so they can either take it from maybe the OA stuff, maybe the Fixer bot is going to have some leftover. I mean, the Fixer bot is going to be minting 3 trillion coins plus, right? Of Pulse coins. So if it does 70 billion, that's just a drop in the bucket, to be honest.
Man, that would be amazing if he does that, because, and you know what, for the loyalty of the group, that would be just picture perfect. Because I didn't get into Pulse. I got into Pulse X. And quite honestly, I went in twice, a little over twice what I wanted to, because I was hoping to get into swapping some for Pulse. But for loyalty of the team and everything, if he does that, that would be just stellar. I'd go 1.5 or even 2. I'd go 2 for 1, just to be able to have an opportunity to have both.
Yeah, so just realize that's the starting ratio, right? And as people buy up their Pulse tokens, that's going to ratchet up. So, the longer you wait, maybe the worse deal you're going to get, until it goes too far to one direction and it might go back the other direction. Who knows?
For that would be, if were we talking hours or days or weeks or what?
I don't know. Could be hours, days. I don't know. It also depends. Another thing is going to be, it's going to depend on how long of a gap there is between the end of this sacrifice and the actual fork or the launch of Pulsechain, right? The longer that is, kind of the more pent up energy that's going to be built up, the more people are going to find out about it, in the meantime. And then they're going to be trying to use their PRC20 value to buy Pulse X and Pulse when it goes live. So they might be looking to get the Pulse X at a bargain, I guess. Anyone who misses this sacrifice, right? Just like people who miss the Pulse sacrifice are trying to get it now by buying the Pulse X token.
Is it okay to ask a price speculation question on this forum?
No one's going to give you a good answer. Most people are just going to say they don't know.
Okay.
Yes, I'll try. Go ahead.
Okay. Well, in light of what Hex did over 600 days, or 620 days or whatever, I've had people I'm trying to get involved in this saying, what's the chances with $1 billion going into PulseX of it hitting a penny? And I'm thinking, guys, in time, if we can't hit a penny with this, there's something wrong. But I do understand that tokenomics plays its part. So I got a friend wanting to go in. He says, will it go 10x? I don't know. That's everybody's answer. We can't say. We don't know. But I would think in a given year, I would think one of either Pulse or Pulse X1 would hit at least a penny. Just my thoughts.
Yeah. So I remember actually yesterday I was watching a video interview with Richard, and he said that he's developed Pulsechain and Pulse X to also do a 10,000x. He said whether it does it within 2 years, he thinks he can, but nothing's determined. He's going to let the markets decide. But yeah, I think again, like I've said this before earlier today, like I think he's just taken the best products on the market and made them better. And he knows a lot about tokenomics and the pump metals. And I just think it's a matter of time. Like if you have millions of PulseX tokens or Pulsechain tokens or even Hex tokens, like man, you're golden. I think you just got to be a little patient for a couple of years, and you'll be in a different place than where you are now financially, I think.
Let me ask this again. I missed Hex SAC and I missed Pulse SAC. At some point in the development of this, is there going to be somewhere we can go and before launch and find out, how much extra of the bonus that we would get just for our own knowledge, or do you think not?
I think the admins have a CSV file that gives you an
Yes,
idea of what the multiplier is, if that's what you're asking. But yeah, I'm not sure where the rankings are. I think they have it for the ESTI, but if you sacrifice with using Binance Smart Chain or
Yeah,
other,
actually I did. I use BNB.
yeah, I don't think they have a there's a leaderboard for ERC20 tokens that were sacrificed, and so you'll be able to see.
And I see the leaderboard and all the addresses, and I get that, but I'm just wondering down the road prior to launch, or we will just know when we get our coins. Wow, oh my God, look at what we got. That kind of thing.
at launch, you will have your the balances deposited in the. I mean, balances will be reflected into the test chain.
So for the pulse chain sacrifice, they kind of already came up with the preliminary numbers. They released it like in a CSV file, which was mentioned, so people got a peek at it, and comments were made about some issues that they saw in the balances, right? So the dev team is fixing it up. Maybe they've already done, but they're kind of keeping tight with it right now. There will be a V3 launch testnet, which is going to have balances for Pulse Chain. If that V3 comes, let's say a week after the Pulse X sacrifice is done, then maybe we'll also see some Pulse X balances there. But no one's said anything about that, right? That's just my speculations, right? That they could do that. But I would expect, shortly after the launch, that they would put out, a CSV file so people can check it to double check. Again, any issues that may have occurred. Hopefully, by already doing this once for Pulse Chain, they would have found any issues, that would have came up on certain chains, or any issues with timestamps or whatever being wrong. So you should get something. I'm sure you'll see something before it actually goes live.
Isn't it true that you have to be over 50,000 to really see anything?
Yeah, 10% somewhere around like 6,000, 20% somewhere around like 12,500.
Yeah, if you go into chat and you type in !BBM, there's 3 spreadsheets there. The first and the second one, I think both have some kind of a breakdown of how much you need, whatever value. The second one is the one I actually created. You can also go look at my bio if you go click on my name and go to pretend to chat me and then click on my icon again, you can copy that link and put it into the browser and get that link to the Google Doc. The Google Docs actually link to each other. I have a link to Das Bomb's sheets, and then I have a link to my respective sacrifices. So I have in the Pulse X, I have a link to the Pulse sacrifice, and the Pulse sheet, I have a link now to the Pulse X sacrifice sheet. And you can go on the second sheet, and on there you can go and look up your address if you sacrificed to the on the Ethereum chain, and see where your ranking is and see how many points you should be expecting. Now, this is just the unofficial stuff, right? It doesn't. It's not what the devs put out a month ago. It's just what happened back in the summertime, and then what's happening now. I haven't updated the Pulse X spreadsheet in like 3 days because I don't have access to the transactions, like every single transaction. And so now, if I just post what's on the leaderboard, there's a little skew in the numbers, right? Anyone who's sacrificing now, they're paying, what is it, $1.28 or $1.35? I think it's $1.28 per 10,000 tokens. And I don't think that's reflected necessarily in what was sacrificed, right, on the leaderboard. I need to get a detailed list of when every transaction went through to figure out those numbers, right? How much value you're going to get, how many points you're going to get based on the bonding curve. And I got to figure out a better way to get that, because when I went and looked at it last night and started it, it said it was going to take, or I did the math and it said it was going to take about 4 days for me to get all those transactions, right? And obviously that's too slow. So I need to find a much better, a quicker way of gathering that data.
On the price speculation, the other thing that's, I think, at least for me anyway, I consider is, I don't know if the number is accurate, but let's just assume it is, that if 4% of people are using crypto, you fast forward 4 or 10 years, what's that percentage going to be? 8%, 9%? I think so. If that many new users get onboarded, the network will become that much more valuable, I would think. So I think we're just extremely early days of crypto, kind of like, you know, the mid 90s of internet or the 20s or 30s of the automotive industry.
Yeah, that's for sure. I got one question for the sacrifice. I see the largest sacrifice is 47 million. Do you guys think that is one person, or is it a group of person that put their money together and sacrificed?
Doesn't matter really. It could be one person. It could be Risham Brikel, Overwatch partners, and that people are basically, it's a group of people. It's a company group of people. Yeah, it's most likely it's a group of people.
So it's the Overwatch company. I need to look it up because this is insane.
Yeah, it's Overwatch. Just search for in Google. Just search for Overwatch Pulsechain, and you will get something. And you will also find a guy called Christian Rackham Richel, or Rackham Richel, or Richel Rackham, some name like that. And you can also find him on Twitter with a bunch of Cobra, Lamborghini, that kind of stuff. You'll see that. And my point of view about this 1 billion, 2 billion, 14 billion, blah, blah, blah. I mean, this ETH, this Bitcoin, and eventually Pulsechain, Pulsex, these are universal products. So 1 billion is nothing, in my opinion. I used to get scared of this big number also, but these are products used by the whole world. So 1 billion is nothing. I believe if people have like some question, it shouldn't be connected to market cap. But even if they do connect it to market cap, still it's meaningless because it's a universal application. Everybody will use this. So this amount of money that we see, it seemed to be a lot, but it really is not when you compare to global scale. When you take it to global scale.
Yeah, I think so too. 1 billion is actually not that much. If we do, I mean, and the person who sacrificed like a couple of millions, they are not all too likely to sell. So maybe they will sell in a year or two from now. So it doesn't really matter.
Yeah, like that Overwatch partners, they already have all the toys, all the houses that they want. He's not gonna sell at 10x. He's not gonna sell at 100x. He's not gonna sell it at any x maybe. He's just gonna swap it to other projects, other newcomer projects, other sacrifices, and this is how they basically spread that accumulation of economic energy to different areas. Instead of cashing out, they separate it to different projects. So I think these three projects, Hacks, Pulsechain, and Pulse will do just amazingly well. And yeah,
You know what I would like to see along this eventually would be a launch pad for other coins to come in and have a sacrifice, and we would have a position to be able to be a part of maybe a whitelist or something like that. Who knows where this is going to go, but the potential is just insane.
I think that launchpad business have been oversaturated. I mean, everyone has been launching launchpads, and it's also like an institutional rug pull, slow rug pull, such as Pulsepad. That's institutional slow rug pull. I mean, it's their main business to rug pull from people. There's whitelisting, and then there is some other games you can get in, but you can never get out with that kind of Bluezilla projects. So I would definitely warn you to be very careful about that launchpad businesses. It would be just smarter to stay with the what you have, the PulseX Pulse, P hacks. So
Yeah, I agree. I understand the rugging and all of that. I'm just saying it'd be nice as other coins start up, that they would do the same pattern of sacrificing instead of like an IDO or something like that. And this would
yeah,
be by nature a
yeah,
place for them to do that.
yeah, they won't do that because here's the point. I mean, this is my point of view, at least. They won't do that because they want their initial venture capitalists to sell to the public. So venture capitalist wants to sell it at 100x to the public. That's why they don't do sacrifice. That's why they will do IDO whitelisting, this and that. You can get in, but you cannot get out. 10% to get 10% tax to get in, 10% tax to get out. This type of stuff all makes it very damaging to the general public. So that's why they will not do this kind of stuff. Only Richard Hart does it.
No, this liquid loans is doing actually a sacrifice phase, and it's heavily tied into Pulsechain economy. So it is kind of an idea that's spreading as well.
Oh, okay. Yes, I forgot about that. You're correct.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Coins like that on our chain would be just absolutely phenomenal.
Can somebody explain what liquid loans is?
It's
Not
kind of
not
like the Nexo token, if you've heard of that one. It's so you get like you can deposit collateral and then you can borrow against that collateral. And I think you need at least 110% collateral, so that the price has to move about 90% against you before you get liquidated. And there's 0% interest rate.
Okay, I understand. So
that's
they
not exactly
basically,
yeah, that's
yeah,
not exactly there's some inaccuracies in what was said there. But we don't really talk about non-Richard Hart projects in these channels, right? This is a Richard Hart channel, so we don't talk about non-Richard Hart coins. They do have a channel on Telegram. They do have a website. If you want to go talk about it, there's lots of people there that are can explain it well.
Hey guys, is anybody there?
Hello.
Hello.
How's it going? Can you hear me?
Yeah, what is Pulsex exactly?
Oh, that's what I'm wondering too. I just logged in.
It's a DEX.
Okay.
It's a DEX like Uniswap on Ethereum chain.
Okay, what are the fees like?
It's got the
Hello?
cheapest fees out of any DEX anywhere.
Okay, cool.
0.2%.
All right, man. Thanks, man. I'm gonna look into it.
Okay, so if we sacrifice, is that how we invest? By sacrificing, and then we just get a place, and then what do we own a piece of the DEX? And how do we get rewarded down the road?
What do you mean, like a blood sacrifice?
I think you
I mean,
sacrifice
I'm up for
tokens.
it.
I'm just asking a question like you. So I think how you invest is by sacrificing tokens. Is that correct?
Oh, few tokens. I thought it
Charity.
was humans.
Donate.
Yes.
You could donate or charity.
Yeah, this is a sacrifice phase right now. Long story short, for the thing, you get points for the dollar amount that you sacrifice, and the points can turn into Pulsex tokens.
They
What holds the
can turn
price?
in, or they
What
do
holds
turn in Pulsex
consensus?
tokens.
Yeah, what holds the price up?
They do, but you can't really expect work from others or however the saying goes. But yeah, you get points, and they turn into tokens. Yeah.
Yeah. So when you sacrifice for the freedom of movement to the address, on the pulsex.info website, or just follow the instructions that, just depending on what chain you're sacrificing from, you'll basically get a certain number of points. There's a bonding curve. We're already into the bonding curve. I think it costs $1.28 right now for 10,000 tokens. It goes up 5% every day. At the end of the sacrifice, those points will be, when Pulsechain launches, those points will basically turn into PulseX tokens, right? At a 1-to-1 ratio. Those tokens will be zero value at launch. And then, if they have any value after that, is up to everyone to determine, basically. Yeah, so if you sacrifice right now, you'll get the points. The points are going to be tokens or coins. Those coins are going to be worth zero at launch. There's no expectation of work from others, so don't expect anything from the money that you sacrificed. Don't expect it to go to advertising, to the development team, to anything like that. It's just gone. It's a sacrifice, but you will get your tokens.
You can hear the cogs turning in people's heads.
Hey guys, I have a question. I'm really new to this and I don't really get it. I don't get this fork thing. Like if you let's say you have Ethereum in your MetaMask wallet, Ethereum, and the fork happens, do you get Pulse or Hex, or you get Ethereum like PRC20?
Ethereum is the worst coin to get doubled. You only get one pulse per Ethereum, so you absolutely get nothing.
Okay, but then let's say like Shiba or Chainlink.
Yeah, so you get let's say you got 1,000 Shiba, you get 1,000 P hex, but they are priced at 0.
No, you get 1,000
No.
Shiba. You don't get P hex.
Sorry.
You get a You get a duplicate of every ERC20. Ethereum's not an ERC20, so you only get pulse for that. But every other thing you get a duplicate copy. So if you got Chainlink, you get P Chainlink. If you got Shiba, you get P Sheep. If you got Hex, then you get P Hex. So if you buy Hex now, you get P Hex duplicated on another chain.
Oh, okay, got it. Okay, thanks.
But they're all predicted to start at 0, and eventually they will all reach parity, and then it will become equal to what the price is now.
Yeah.
The best
I mean,
coins to have is Hex, because they think Hex is going to reach parity quicker. Or any good coin, really, like maybe some of the meta coins.
Yeah, I mean, I just, before this fork happens, I want to buy, a lot of hacks, a lot of SHIB, Chainlink, like multiple ones, not just one. And when that fork happens, I can buy Pulsechain or Pulsechain, yeah?
You can sacrifice the Pulse X now. What I'm saying to people is do this. So let's say you want to put £1,000 into all 3 projects. You put 500. You put £500 in. Sorry, let's say dollars. You put $500 into Hex and you sacrifice it for 15 years. Boom, you're in. You get free P Hex for that. Then you put $500 into Pulse X. Yeah, you get USDC. Swap it to Pulse X now. Sacrifice for Pulse X. When Pulse X is launched, you swap half the Pulse X for Pulse. You're in all 3. That's the quickest way to do it. I'm an old man and I've got 555 stakes. 15 years goes really quick, and you're just getting more Hex every day from your T shares.
I mean, yeah, I just discovered like Richard Hart like a few weeks ago, and I was like, oh, this sacrifice, and I don't know shit, but let's throw a few $1,000 on it, hope it does well, because Hex did really well. I listened to this guy, he's fucking smart, so let's see what happens. But I was so confused with this fork, like I couldn't understand how it's able to duplicate your coins, like it was
So he's copying the whole of the Ethereum chain. So everybody that has Ethereum coins will get a copy, and he's even copying NFTs. It's unbelievable. This is unbelievable. The biggest chance ever you're going to get in 10 years.
Yeah, exactly. That's why I'm just like so hyped, because it's I don't know whoever did things like this, like Richard Hart does right now. He's some other kind of a human being.
Yeah, so he's hoping that the copied coins, he's hoping that people are going to bring over liquidity to the copied coins and trade on a cheaper chain. So that's the big hope.
Yeah,
I
because
don't think he's not priming every coin. He might prime it a little bit, each copied coin pool, but not much.
Yeah, because I'm now just looking at, maybe I want to stake hacks, And you know, when this fork happens, like this Pulse network goes live, then maybe if Pulsex drops because people will buy PLS, maybe then I can buy from those fork ones, you know, buy Pulsex. That's my plan.
I think the best, my opinion is just hold them. No one can find the top. It's impossible to get the top and rebuy lower. This is a long-term project, if you can hold between 1 and 5 years, it can be life-changing money.
Okay, so guys, a quick question though. If I have some hex in my MetaMask wallet and I don't want to sacrifice it, what's the advantage? Let's say I've probably just sacrificed like a quarter of it or half of it and then leave half of it in my MetaMask. Is there an advantage or disadvantage in doing so?
You mean holding some liquid hex in your MetaMask?
Yeah, in my MetaMask, yeah.
Yeah,
What is
so
the
that
advantage of
liquid hex will get liquid p hex, and then you can sell them whenever you want. But if you're staking, your p hex, your p hex staked is going to be for the duration of your stake as well. It's just like a copy of exactly what you're doing.
Okay, so would that hex be like the way Ethereum holders are gonna get a copy of the PRC20s on the Pulsechain network? Would that hex be on the Pulsechain network as well, or I have to like, use PulseX to convert it or something? Hello?
Yeah, you don't have to do anything, man. You'll get your one-for-one copy of Pulsechain. So your eHex will stay in your Ethereum wallet. You'll also have a duplicate on the Pulsechain. You don't have to do nothing. Just keep it in your wallet.
Okay, no, it's fine. Thank you.
Use a hardware wallet.
No, it's MetaMask. Okay, guys, another question though. When you look at the Pulse lead, it's a bit demotivating when you see other people staking like $1 million or 100,000 US dollars or something like that. For some people who probably can't afford that kind of budget, but is there any is someone can say something maybe on this channel just to give some motivation, because it feels a little bit demotivating when you see some people staking that much and you be like sacrificing that much and you be like, oh, okay, maybe yeah, obviously down the ladder, you're down the ladder, but are there any gains for you doing that for a small time, like a retail investor like some of us, or I'll speak for myself?
Yeah, just don't look at it. That's the easiest thing to do.
Sorry, come again?
Just ignore it. Who cares what other people sacked? You did what you could do, and that's good enough. You're good, man.
Yeah, sure. Cheers, man. Thanks.
I would just say that, you know, some of those are probably pools. It's not just one entity. It's probably, 100 people, 400, 500 people, maybe getting into that. The second thing is, for those that are do have that much money, they have that much money because they got into crypto 3, 4, 5 years ago, right? And they just held on, right? And now look where they're at, right? Now you're getting in on the ground floor of a really good crypto, right? Pulsechain's going to be, what, cryptocurrency was all about, right? From the beginning. It's the true, deal here. So you getting in on the ground floor is looking really great, right? I mean, how many times do you get to get in on the ground floor of something that could go up 10,000 times, right? So yeah, don't worry about what they have. Just know that if you kind of are able to hold on and not sell at 100x or 1000x and hold on for that 10,000x, that you could be up there as well next time.
Sure, man, makes sense.
As Profex has just said there, I mean, the guy who's in second place, if you look on Etherscan, he in 2017 he bought 200,000 Ether. I mean, I think somebody can correct me here, but I think that cost about $2,000. Now it's worth about 600 million. I mean, he doesn't need to do anything. He doesn't need to bump it.
Hey, quick question for you guys. Will I be missing out on any opportunities by sacrificing smart chain BNB versus the Ethereum or any Ethereum based tokens like Hex or anything like that? Will I still have the same opportunity as everybody else, even though I'm not sacrificing Ethereum or whatever Ethereum based token on a Pulse chain?
Yeah, you'll do better because your fees will be lower. The Ethereum fees are higher than BNB.
Oh, okay. Right.
It
Thanks a
makes
lot.
it makes absolutely no difference what you sacrifice. There's no extras for people who sacrifice Ethereum tokens or Hex, so BNB is fine.
Oh, okay. All right. I just wanted to know because I just seen so many people sacrificing Ethereum and Hex, and I just thought maybe I might be missing out on something. That's all. But you guys clarified that for me, so thanks a lot.
I'm not saying this is a good option, but there was a guy that sacrificed ETH just so he can see his listing on the Pulse X lead, just for instant gratification. But that's about it.
Yo, hi, good evening. I got a question. I'm really confused. Like, what the hell? We're copying stuff? Okay, we copy everything, but what the hell is gonna go on after? Like, there's no more created once you copy because you made a screenshot of a particular day, or is there more created? Because I mine Bitcoin. I'm just curious.
But it's a blockchain, man. There's going to be tons of projects coming out launching on it. It's going to be like Binance Smart Chain. The Ethereum copy is just the start. After that, it's going to be all new projects launching. It's like BSC, man, just like ETH.
So we're gonna have new quantities in terms of like there's gonna be a new amount, a max amount of whatever coin we've sacrificed from now on his chain.
So whatever is sacrificed will turn into points, right? Whether you're talking about Pulsechain or PulseX, and that amount will be the maximum that there ever will be in existence. Both coins are deflationary, as opposed to Ethereum and Bitcoin, where you kept on paying the miners with inflation, right? So the value proposition, it's going to become more rare. So there's going to be more of an incentive to basically just hold on to it, right, as the supply goes down and the demand goes up.
Okay, is there like a Medium post, or is there anything like we can? Where's like the best place we can read about this more in depth?
Dude, we helped you in chat and pointed you to all the websites to go and read. Didn't you see all that?
Oh, you mean Pulsechain? But I mean, I'm reading. I'm just I'm not grasping everything pretty clear. It's not a clear picture. It's not my first language, English, so not pretty sure. All right. Anyway, I'll have a look again.
Does
There's a
anybody?
ton of YouTube content too, right? Like crypto coffee is a good one to go look at. I mean, there's just so many though. I can't really recommend.
Okay. I'll have a look. Thanks.
howtopost.com. Will explain way into detail. Also Richard Hart's stream.
Does anybody else think the exchange token and the chain token both being named Pulse is confusing everybody or confusing newbies per se?
Are you getting confused by Pulse X, Hex on Pulse, and Pulsechain? No.
I'm not confused, but it seems there's lots of people in the chat who are getting confused as to there being two different Pulse tokens. Not that they're going to change the name now, but I just think maybe it could have been called something else, but who knows?
There's a lot of people in chat really not doing a lot of research at all, and they're just aping into this and really not willing to do any work whatsoever. It's quite scary.
I think that the token ticker of the exchange and the network really don't matter. If you do your own research, it'll come easy for you to understand when people are talking on the chat to say what are they talking about. But I would agree with the gentleman who just spoke before me to say that if you do your own research, it'll come easy. And some YouTube videos, spend a minute or so on your phone googling and stuff like that. It'll probably just make sense as you go along. Like for me, I just do that layer upon layer of knowledge as you go along. So if you develop an interest in it, then it'll come easy for you. So yeah.
If we've got a little break, I'd just like to remind everybody, please go and use the testnet. Please go and stress the system. We need to find the bugs. The more people that use it, the more stress we put on it, the better. If you need to know where to go, please go to howtopulse.com. They have all the links and everything there for you to be able to go and set up your MetaMask with your RPC. It's also good for you because then you'll be familiar with the mainnet when it's launched. Thank you.
I got a question on that. I'm not in front of the computer right now, but once that I set up everything, all my MetaMask and everything, how can I get the tokens, like the polls for tryout and play with the system?
Go to howtopulse.com, and then you'll see in the first header there's a drop down, and then it says how the testnet, and it'll give you all the details you need there to be able to connect your MetaMask up to the testnet.
Perfect, thank you.
So now you're not gonna be playing with the tokens of PLSX or PLS. You'll be playing with not PLS, but PLSX. You're not playing with that. You're playing with the copies that were done, the snapshot that was done back in September of 2021. And if you can, there's a faucet as well. So the links are all on there, but you're not just playing with that. But now V3 of testnet should have the allocated airdrop points on the testnet V3. So you could play around with it on there too and stress it out. So V3 is where you want everybody to stress that one out as much as possible.
And then there is a version of Uniswap v2, so you can exchange tokens, you can delegate your tokens, you can go to the Staker app for go.hex.com once you're connected to the testnet, and stake and unstake, and yeah, play around with it.
Happy Friday, Mello.
Okay.
Happy Friday to everyone.
So guys, quick question on the buy and burn feature for Pulsechain. So is there any other DEX that actually does that, or this is the first of its kind? Because I'm trying to understand
So
how
it's not
is it like automated, or someone has to manually do it?
So it's not going to be a buy and burn. It's not. Don't. I would like for you to go to the Richard Hart's stream and go watch his latest stream. They're all in categories. There's a Uniswap, fee. It's called a fee to address. Now that fee to address, that's where all the fees for going to be going to, and then from there, the bot will buy back and burn. But it's a fee to address, so it's not like a public call, nor is it a manual call. So the Richard Hart tweet will explain a little bit more into detail what that Uniswap fee to address does. And it's the last stream that he did.
Okay, sure.
Can
Thanks,
you
man.
can you just explain to everybody why that's the case now?
Because of it's a security. Basically, you don't want a bot to front run the function, and basically, can y'all hear me?
Actually, because
Basically,
it's impossible to do on chain. There is no way to program a contract to find routes to buy an asset on chain.
repeat that. I don't think anyone heard you.
I said that it is impossible to make it trustless so that a smart contract would do it, because there is no technology that would allow that. You cannot write a smart contract to find the best route or just any route to buy PLSX from the market with just any token, because the fees are paid with any token that is being sold on the market. So you need to then swap that for PLS6, which is not possible to do in a trustless manner.
So are we saying that on PulseX, those fees, they go to one address, and then that they're accumulating that whatever it's that address, then it goes out and buys PulseX again and bans them or something?
Basically, that's what it's gonna do.
Yeah, an off-chain bot will have to do this because there is no way to do it on-chain.
Okay.
Now, did you want to find out? You want to know the percentage? Is that what you wanted to know more about that, or?
In terms of percentages, I think I do have a rough idea, but I'm not gonna get myself tangled with the whole numbers games. But I just wanted to understand the whole math behind the technology to see how it does it. Because from my little understanding of taxes and stuff, I don't think Uniswap does it. But apparently Uniswap is so big; it's got so much liquidity. So I'm
Uniswap does have a V2 address. It's on the version 2. So if you read contracts or anything, you can actually go check out Uniswap V2's code.
Okay, so okay, no, it's fine. Okay, I'll try and do that then.
While we've got a quiet moment, I would also ask everybody, please don't sacrifice coins that are not on the list. If you do, there's a chance that you won't get your points, but also you're tying up dev time to go and sort all that out. Please only sacrifice the coins that are on the list. Thank you.
Yeah, and also a quick reminder, don't sacrifice from an exchange, because it will be between you and the exchange if the airdrop actually happens. So yeah.
Thank you for the reminder.
No, you can sacrifice from an exchange. It's the holding the ERC20 tokens on the exchange.
No,
You want to get those off.
From my understanding, you don't hold the private keys to the exchange, so it's not. You also rather do it from your own personal wallet.
That's what the DApp is for on postx.info. That's basically if you want to sacrifice from an exchange, it will give you a unique address to send it to. Now, holding ERC20 tokens on the exchange, they're gonna get the copies. So you want to put that into a wallet that you hold the public keys in.
Yeah. My point exactly. I'm just saying that not too many of us actually understand the whole crypto, terminology and this whole stuff. So rather go the simple route. Just get on your MetaMask and then just to play it simple. That's all.
Yeah, but that incurs 2 fees. So when you gotta send it from your exchange to the MetaMask, then from MetaMask to the wallet address, when you can just send one time straight from the exchange to your special address that's made for your address that you'd have to connect your MetaMask wallet in the dApp to generate that address.
Yeah, that's a great point. Yeah, I've been using BNB from on the BSC's Binance Smart Chain. I think the fees, they are quite reasonable compared to the Ethereum Smart Chain. But that's a very good point. I didn't even know that existed, to be honest. Yeah.
So just to be straight, you should only send from an exchange if the address that you're sending to doesn't start off with 0x75, right? If you're sending to 0x75, then you should be doing it from your own wallet.
Can you use Coinbase wallet to send it? Not the exchange, the Coinbase wallet.
Yeah, that's fine. You're gonna have to migrate those seeds into a hardware wallet, most likely, so that you can access them when Pulsechain goes live through the MetaMask interface. Because MetaMask right now is the only wallet that can change or set a custom RPC setting that we know of.
Hi. Yeah, I have a question as well. Just about the sacrifice. Oh no, sorry, about the cloning of the wallet and stuff. So, for example, I sacrificed from the MetaMask wallet. So, when they have the duplicate copy, so I think I saw somewhere in the chat they said like, okay, as long as you have the private key to, is that right? Or does it has to be the address where you sacrifice from? The ERC20 tokens.
Yeah. So wherever you sacrifice from, or whatever address you specified, depending on how you sacrificed, but basically whatever address you sacrificed from is the address that it's going to go to, right? If it's on the Ethereum chain. If it's not an EVM chain, then it'll go to whatever you put on step 1 of the pulsex.info website.
Yep. I mean, like the clone copies. You know how after the launch they're gonna like give you clone copy. I read somewhere they said whichever address you have like the keys to. So it has to be where you sacrifice from, right?
Yeah. So the only thing that's going to happen is you're going to have to do in MetaMask. You're going to have to go up to the networks, and you're going to add a custom RPC setting for Pulsechain mainnet when it goes live, right?
Yeah.
And then those keys that you have that already worked on Binance or Ethereum or whatever, they'll just, it'll be the same keys with the same accounts, just on a new network, right? And your balances should be there. The only thing you have to add the PulseX contract, because it's a new contract.
But you're not limited to that, just the sacrifice wallet address. You can, if you have a wallet that another public address that holds Ethereum tokens in it, that you have the public keys to, or that you have the seed phrase, all of that gets copied. So if you have like people that have 2-3 wallets that have ERC20 tokens in it, that they hold all 3.
Is that something that's kind of not really meant to be talked about?
I've heard of people using them. There's like retail bots that you can use to get the hype beats drops. I've heard of them. I've never really looked into it, so I'm not sure where you'd find that actually.
I'll check on Amazon.
MetaMask, a couple times a day and claim on whatever's in the reward pool. And the more frequently you do that, the faster it compounds. Like if you're leaving loan token in the reward pool unclaimed on a monthly basis, you're severely handicapping yourself.
Is there a good video